So how can communities implement better support programs?
hmm I think some of the great examples that I've seen are around partnerships and collaborations. And so, if you have funding for homelessness or housing programs, some of the great successes I've seen are when that funding goes actually to shelters. That's where women are. That's where families are. And, if you have a shelter whose mandate is to move people into housing and they can do that internally, it becomes a very seamless experience. It's not a, 3-month wait list or a sort of referral where lots of people can get lost in the cracks. So if we fund shelters to do housing, I think that's a great way to respond to homelessness for all groups, but in particular women because of that, deep need for safety.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other things that I've seen, if you are, one of the things we see in our family shelters and our women's shelters here is very high rates of Indigenous women and Indigenous families and actually refugee women and refugee families. And so support systems tend to fall apart even more for equity seeking or racialized groups. And so emergency shelters are typically funded for crisis response, but they may not have the skills in-house to understand immigration issues and cultural nuances or the need for healing in particular ways with elders and knowledge keepers and, through spirit and ceremony. And so I think partnerships are really important because if a shelter can't provide that, if they have good partnerships with other agencies that can, who may not know how to respond to homelessness, but sort of collectively and collaboratively, they can sort of build a program of support based on what people actually need and based on where they're at in their lives.
Right, right.